This is the biggest news I've ever had on my channel or on my X ever before. What if I told you that I, for the first time in all of crypto history since 2009, discovered who Satoshi Nakamoto really was, and I had explicit proof that's never been seen before? Well, I do, and the answer is, he is a scammer. Let's explore why. All right, I know that was a fairly clickbait and attention-grabbing title, but as you'll see in this video, I do make a logical and what I believe is a logically sound argument as to why Satoshi Nakamoto was indeed a scammer, assuming you believe in the BTC maximalist view of the world. So I do not believe that. I do not think Satoshi Nakamoto was a scammer, but if you are a Bitcoin maximalist that views Bitcoin Cash as being a scam coin, then by extension, by logical consistency, you must admit that Satoshi Nakamoto was the chief scammer of the Bitcoin history. CSO, Chief Scamming Officer. It is a boiling hot day. Central New Jersey. Tomorrow is my flight to Spain. So there'll be a bunch of new videos coming out about my time in Spain and more. Some of it I can't publish just yet, but some of it I'll be able to. So be sure to follow and subscribe for more videos about cryptocurrency. Today, we're going to be talking about a very specific tweet that I saw, which I found interesting. It was by a guy named Alchemy BTC, who is a fairly small account about Bitcoin and his belief that Bitcoin is the only coin and everything else is a poop coin. And I won't say the exact word because I don't want to be demonetized for saying a naughty word on YouTube. But I wanted to talk about this idea of Bitcoin being the only coin and everything else is a scam. This is a concept that doesn't really hold much water, especially when you can compare it to other industries. But even when you just look at crypto, it's a very bad idea. So let me explain what the idea is. The idea is that the first crypto was Bitcoin, first cryptocurrency. And after Bitcoin was created, you had all of these imitators that popped up. And some imitators are worse than others in this way of thinking. Okay. Bitcoin is the original cryptocurrency. You had Ethereum, you had all these things, and eventually you had Bitcoin Cash. And for many of the people that hold this belief that all other cryptocurrencies are literal scams to make people rich and not enrich the world, Bitcoin Cash would be the worst offender, because Bitcoin Cash carries the word Bitcoin. And not only that, it was broken off of Bitcoin. It's like the evil brother, okay? It's like the Cain to the Abel. So while all coins are scams, except for Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash is the worst offender of it. Now, for anyone who's watching this, you probably already catch on to a simple fact, that when everything else in the world except the thing that you like is a scam, that might direct you to the realization that maybe it's you that's the problem. Think about religion. If you're religious, you can be, let's say, Buddhist or Christian. That's great that you have that belief, that you hold that belief. That's really good. And you can have a lot of reasons why your religion is the right one. But if you look at another religion and say, not only that is that religion not right, and mine is better, which that's a fair point. But if you look at it and say it's literally an evil scam, those non-believers should be wiped out. In fact, the Bitcoin people, like Max Kaiser, in Bitcoin, people really believe that anyone who doesn't support only just Bitcoin should be put into prison. Okay, so if you believe that another religion is so evil that all the people in that religion should be put to death, should be put in prison, maybe that tells you that you're the evil one. But with that aside, this is just the concept, okay? And we'll break down why this concept doesn't really have any validity. But first, I want to cover a very specific tweet that this guy made and relate it to the general concept of this video. Alchemy BTC fails to see any reason at all why Bitcoin Cash holds value. No reason at all he can see. No logical reason why Bitcoin Cash has any value in the marketplace. Now, to me, this is so laughably absurd that making a video about it is in some ways like almost insulting you, the viewer. But the reason I want to do it, even though it's so obvious why this guy is so disconnected from reality in this opinion, is that many people who are influencers, who help influence other people and even entire countries, hold this belief. And I'm going to be looking at this not as a Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash supporter or not supporter. I'm going to be looking at this purely through logical deduction, logical reasoning, okay? So I'm not going to talk at all why I think Bitcoin Cash is better than Bitcoin in certain applications. I'm going to talk purely in fundamental logic. So in fact, you can take my argument today and you could remove Bitcoin and remove Bitcoin Cash and just sub in an X and a Y, or an A and a B, and the logic should hold true. I was attacked by a fly and had to cut the video. It wouldn't leave me alone. So normally I wouldn't actually make videos like this, but having the opportunity to like walk in nature is really nice. And it's just not something I would do unless I was filming. The question is, why would anyone look at Bitcoin Cash today and say that it has any value at all? Any value? Well, let's start with the obvious, the answer to this question. What Bitcoin Cash is today is literally what Bitcoin was in 2009. That's the simple answer. And Bitcoin today is not what Bitcoin was in 2009. Ta-da! So what is the value today of Bitcoin Cash? Is the exact same thing that was the value of Bitcoin in 2009. That's it. Now you could argue with logical cohesion that Bitcoin today, which is not what it was in 2009, is more or less valuable than it was. You can make that argument, but Bitcoin today is radically different than what Bitcoin was in 2009. Okay? The name has changed with Bitcoin Cash, but otherwise it functions with the same utility that Bitcoin did in 2009. Now we'll break it down and get more granular. Bitcoin in 2009 was fast, low fee, easy. The block size grew as needed to accommodate more transactions to keep the fees low. If you read Satoshi's emails, and even just the white paper, it describes a coin that you can send from one person to another person, peer-to-peer, without custodians, without additional layers, with low fees. If this person, Alchemy BTC, if I were to pose to him this question, if he's watching this video, or anyone who thinks like him, I would say, what was the value, not of Bitcoin Cash today, what is the value of it, but what is the value of Bitcoin in 2009? If you say that Bitcoin Cash today has no value at all, no utility, no value, no, it's just a total, complete scam, that's okay, you can hold that opinion, but recognize that Bitcoin in 2009, if you looked at it in that moment of time, you would have 100% said it was a scam. And right now you should say that current Bitcoin BTC isn't a scam, but it came from being a scam. If you are logically consistent, you will say, and if you're watching this video and you hold these beliefs, leave a comment below. Do you agree that BTC Bitcoin in 2009 was a scam and that Satoshi was objectively, not subjectively, was objectively a scammer who should have been put into prison? So to Alchemy's question, what is the value of Bitcoin Cash? Well, the value of it is what the value was of Bitcoin in 2009. Peer-to-peer electronic cash that doesn't rely on middlemen, layers, or custodians. To be a payment system that's low fee, cheap, easy, and reliable. That is what the value of Bitcoin Cash is today. And that is what the value of Bitcoin was in 2009. And if Bitcoin Cash today is a scam, then Bitcoin in 2009 was a scam. And if you support Bitcoin in 2009, then you are a scammer. So we've talked about what Bitcoin Cash is today and how that's the exact same as what Bitcoin was in the past. Bitcoin in the past and Bitcoin Cash today function and have the same utility. Peer-to-peer electronic cash without middlemen, custodians, or layers. That is functionally the same as it was. But what about Bitcoin? What about BTC? What is BTC today? And does BTC today coincide with what Bitcoin was in 2009? No. And that's objective. And that's not even necessarily a bad thing. If you're a BTC supporter, that's great. You may see, and you may be right, rabbit or something, that Bitcoin today is not like Bitcoin was in 2009, and that is a good thing. That Satoshi was wrong. And in fact, there have been people I've had internet debates with on Twitter or X, who specifically, when I bring them this question to be logically consistent, they actually agree with me and say, Satoshi was wrong. He was wrong. And Bitcoin today addresses what he was wrong about. And I think that is a totally logical and fair thing. So what is Bitcoin today? Bitcoin relies on layers. Bitcoin relies on custodians. Bitcoin is high fee, which means it excludes the majority of the world from using it by design. To run your own Lightning node, Lightning being proposed as a solution for Bitcoin scaling, which, by the way, from what I've seen, many people who are Lightning supporters in the past are now saying that Lightning's not it. We don't know what it will be, but it's not Lightning. But apparently there's some people haven't got the memo. But the argument that Lightning will solve the problem and let Bitcoin be fast and custodial, and non-custodial, doesn't hold water. In order to have a Lightning node that you run, you need to have significant amounts of liquidity and capital to put in it, which can be lost. And even if they're not lost, you still have to have the money to put into it to begin with. Some people in Bitcoin have said that Bitcoin, when it's functioning the way it should be so expensive to make an on-chain transfer that it's as rare as an oil tanker, chartering an oil tanker is today, possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars per on-chain transaction. Well, if Lightning is the solution, then you have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to put money into Lightning, oil tanker, to have your own non-custodial Lightning node, and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to take it out. Bitcoin Cash needs hundreds of dollars worth of storage versus hundreds of thousands of dollars of fees on Bitcoin. Pick which one is really more decentralized. And by the way, this is a whole nother argument that you need to have hundreds of dollars worth of storage to run a Bitcoin Cash non-custodial on your computer. That's not true. The checkpoint system takes care of that, and that'll be a separate video, right? That's actually in itself a complete logical fallacy. But with that aside, Bitcoin, in order to use it day to day functionally, will have high fees. That is not what Bitcoin was in 2009. That is not what Satoshi wrote about. That is not in the white paper. It requires custodials and layer 2s to use reasonably well, especially poor people. That goes against the entire concept of Bitcoin that was written about in 2009 and made. The whole point was that poor and regular people could use it without high fees and without custodians. Bitcoin in the past was simple, not complex. You can just run it. You can just use it. It's just money, bro. So Bitcoin today has nothing in common with Bitcoin of 2009. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's important to recognize that if you believe Bitcoin Cash is a scam, and you believe that Bitcoin Cash has no value, then you agree that Bitcoin had no value and that Bitcoin was a scam. And it only became not a scam and only got value once it was taken over by Blockstream. And Blockstream were the heroes of the story. Blockstream are the ones who came in and saw Bitcoin, a literal, not figurative, actual scam made by a criminal, Satoshi, who should be at lightest put in prison for the rest of his life, if we can ever find who this clown is. And Blockstream came in and said, look, Bitcoin is a scam. Bitcoin is broken. Bitcoin was made to take advantage of people. It was made to take advantage of poor people. It was made to confuse people. It is literal human garbage. But the code can be fixed and made into something that's actually positive. Now, if Max Kaiser or Bitcoin BTC Alchemy, this kind of X guy, or you watching, if you're a big fan of Bitcoin, if you can say that and admit that, then you know you're on the path of truth. When I went to Bitcoin Miami, BTC Miami, that wasn't what I saw. I saw quotes of Satoshi and little statues of Satoshi. But if you are logically consistent in saying that Bitcoin Cash has no value and it's a scam, then why would you ever use a scammer, Satoshi, to represent your coin? Why would you talk about Bitcoin in 2009 as the birth of Bitcoin instead of 2017? You shouldn't. You should be intellectually honest with yourself, but with your viewers especially. So we come full circle to the title of the video. Satoshi was a scammer. Bitcoin's birth was 2017, not 2009. Blockstream is what came in and saved Bitcoin from being a tool to disempower the weak and the poor across the world. And Blockstream is the hero company that came in and gave the power back to the people. Now, I would say that everything I just said is objectively false, and that we could go through in other videos we do, in future videos we will, that Bitcoin, compared to any other crypto, I shouldn't say any other, but compared to other tools available, empowers less freedom, excludes more people, and does a better job of concentrating the already powerful elite and bankers than other tools on the market. I would argue that. And I think that's fairly self-evident and apparent. But that is something we can debate. What we can't debate is what we talked about today. It's purely logic. So guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for joining me. Let me know what you think in the comments below, especially people who disagree with me. But if you respond back, try to make it a logical response. Okay, not emotional. Tell me why my argument is wrong from a simple mathematical formula. Bitcoin Cash is A. Bitcoin in 2009 is A. Bitcoin is B. Bitcoin B does not equal functionally or philosophically what Bitcoin was in 2009 A. A equals A, B does not equal A. Therefore, A today is not a scam. But B today, well, you can decide if it's a scam or not. See you in Spain.